Welcome to the Jonathan Kinloch Show. As I tell you each week the importance of elections, there is no city in the state of Michigan that is an example of how important an election is for its growth and its continued support from the public officials who serve in that community than the city of Highland Park. On the other side of this break, we'll have a conversation with the new mayor. Well, he's not so new. He's been there for 9 months, but we're going to talk to DeAndre Windom, the mayor of Highland Park, on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the Jonathan Kinloch Show. Highland Park for years was known as a community of trees. You had the Ford factory that was actually first started, or big Ford operations began in the city of Highland Park. Highland Park was legendary in the early 1900s. Then with the downturn in the auto industry, as well as the urban flight, I should say, you had Highland Park feeling the brunt of urban plight, as well as a lack of resources coming into a community. Well, of course, there's been a number of mayors in times past, but now we have a new mayor, a young mayor, who is showing some excitement and energy for the rebirth of the city of Highland Park. I'm glad to welcome DeAndre Windom to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thank you, Jonathan, for having me.
Oh, man, Highland Park, I mean, a lot has happened over the years in Highland Park that really affected it in a negative way. You had Chrysler when it moved its world headquarters out to Auburn Hills. You know, you had a number of folks who left the city, left big bills, but the citizens of Highland Park had to deal with it. You ran for office last year, and everyone in southeastern Michigan heard of the challenges that Highland Park was faced during that time. People of Highland Park said, look, we need a new direction. Let's put a new person in there. And hey, you hit the ground running. And so give us an update on your first 9 months.
Oh, the first 9 months have been, it's been a blessing. First of all, I want to state that there's been some challenges coming into office, and it's been a transformation from going from city council to now being the mayor,
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm actually finding out a ton of information that I wasn't privy to. So I'm finding out a lot of information about the city. But the main thing that, you know, coming into office, and I knew that this was going to be a challenging position, as you stated earlier, we're tagging the rebirth of the city of Highland Park. And that's what we're going through. The city have been down for so long, and some of the challenges that other urban communities are going through, Highland Park have already been there. So, you know, we're more in the upward mobility or the motion that's going with the city. We actually sitting right in here inside of Tim Hortons.
Absolutely.
You know, and this is a jewel in the city, and this is the first in Tim Hortons history to have a double drive-through. So we're actually making history again right across the street from the Ford plant that made history a long time ago.
You know what's so amazing, because as I'm having this conversation with you, one thing that I do is I reach out to talk to citizens and some of the folks who I met, business owners, as I was out here during last year's campaign, talking during that period as well. But just to get an update from the citizens and business owners, one thing I'm hearing is this: you've kept your word. You're still out there in the community. A couple of business owners told me that they were actually surprised to hear from you. They actually got a call from the mayor of Highland Park asking, "What can we do for you?" and not actually asking for anything. You know, the mayor didn't ask for anything. So that was a different tone and a message that you're sending out to the community that you want to make a difference. So let's talk about some of the things that are actually transpiring as far as new businesses that are coming into the city of Highland Park. What's in the pipeline?
Well, in the pipeline, as far as businesses, I'm in the development stages of 2 major businesses. Actually, we wanted to announce the groundbreaking before the year's out.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen, right? But there's two major businesses that are coming to the city of Highland Park, and actually it will be on Woodward Avenue, and we're looking at the land that's directly next door to City Hall.
Okay.
It's a block-long stretch, so we're looking at one business in front, and another business will take up the parcel and take it all the way.
So will it be a commercial strip?
Yes.
Or, okay.
No, well, it's not a strip. No, it's not a strip. So you actually have one is more of assisted living, senior assisted living, which
so residential.
Yeah, more residential. But the other piece is commercial that's looking at relocating here to the city of Highland Park.
Which is along the Woodward.
Yes, it's on Woodward Avenue.
Okay.
Yes. So I mean that lot has been vacant for a long time. The lot that's sitting next door to City Hall. So we're looking at that. We actually have in the pipeline another. I don't want to say a strip. It's more of the frontage of the building will actually be on Woodward, and the parking will be, you know, behind, like you see down in Ferndale, Royal Oak, and Birmingham. And that's how Highland Park, the structure of the city used to be like that prior to. You're
trying to redevelop the front door of Highland Park, Woodward. I've consistently said over the years, why isn't there enough attention being focused in on the major trunk lines, and not only in Highland Park, but in Detroit as well. Right. So you're having conversation with developers along to actually develop the front door that face the Highland Park.
Correct. And under my administration, we're actually working throughout the process, not just talking to someone with an idea, but if we can help them from start to finish, we are working day and night, with the developers to make it a business-friendly city. So now, developers will feel that they will want to come to Highland Park, and there's opportunity here, not just on commercial, but residential as well. So I'm talking to some developers to make a second phase of the NSP2 project that's right here on Midland Avenue. We're building 32 homes. No, 28 new homes on Midland Avenue, and that's the block between Woodward Avenue and 2nd. So I'm talking to a developer that will continue that progress from 2nd to 3rd. So we're looking at keeping everything in one concentrated area, so you'll make an impact with the redevelopment in the neighborhoods as well. We don't want to spread it out throughout the city because
you want to have a consistent plan in place.
Yeah, because you'll be able to see the visual picture more, and it will make an impact.
Create synergy.
That's right.
Well, on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about what are some of the tools that you all are making available to local businesses to assist them. Often we hear in these days, there's no money, no money, no money. So we're going to talk about the other type of resources that you, as Mayor of Highland Park, is extending to businesses and developers. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. Welcome back. We're having a conversation with the Mayor of Highland Park, DeAndre Windom. I said earlier, new mayor. Heck, you've been here for 9 months. Yes. And look, when you were running for office right after the election that November, like a couple of days after the election, because I was there, the state was talking about putting an emergency manager in the city of Highland Park, and you were like, hell no. Correct. And you immediately say, look, I'm not sworn in yet. But I got to reach out to the treasurer and the governor, because we can't let that happen. You were a member of council at that time. You reached out, and look, what's going on with the finances in Highland Park currently? The current situation, the city is still in a deficit. But you worked out a deficit elimination plan. That's what I did. They were on the brink of what? Putting an emergency manager here. Putting EM here. Absolutely. So as we worked throughout that process, and it took us a while to actually get a plan that the Treasury Department would accept. But let's talk, not only accept, but they had to believe it. And not only did they have to believe it, they had to believe in the individual who was presenting that plan. Because I remember some of the stuff that... It was a lot of challenges. Absolutely. It was. I mean, because I was basically a new face. Nobody never heard of me, right? And they still a new face. And so the brick wall was thrown at me. I remember that. Right. So we did overcome. We did tear the brick wall down, and just
And that's what I'm about. I'm about building relationships, you know, so you have to build relationships, not just with the state, with the business owners, with the residents, the pastors, the nonprofit organizations, and together, you know, we can overcome challenges here in this community.
Let's talk about during the break. You had mentioned the fact of how you look, and it is true that you actually reach out. You actually just randomly have been calling the businesses here in Highland Park to introduce yourself. Just introduce yourself and to extend the services of the city.
Yes,
just
and that's an ongoing process. When not just the business owners, as I stated, but with the business owners, it's more important. Because you have a lot of corporations that's here in the city of Highland Park.
And the citizens pretty much already know or familiar with who you are.
Right, but I mean, it's still more of
outreach.
Yes, outreach to the community as well. But with the business owners, you have some significant corporations here in the city of Highland Park, and they're not engaged with the city. So the first step is to, as you stated earlier, I want to introduce myself and to let them know that we want to create partnerships with the businesses and not just go to them and say, I need. And my approach has been to the business owners is what can I do to kind of help your business grow and develop, you know, to a point to where you will want to give back to the city of Highland Park.
On that note of what can the city of Highland Park do and is doing for businesses to, one, support them and to attract new businesses here. Too often we hear that cities don't have any money because there's fewer and fewer dollars coming from Washington as well as Lansing. But there still are dollars coming in from Lansing, still coming in from Washington. How are you utilizing those grants and those resources to actually benefit the community at large here in Highland Park?
Well, I mean, one way, actually, I'll be going to Washington, D.C. for the Black Caucus convention, and I will be in D.C. 3 days prior to the convention just to introduce myself to people in D.C. I think the introduction and just for people to know who you are and the city that you're representing is important. I think we don't have the representation in D.C. or in Lansing that will tell our story. So what's the best way to tell our story is the mayor, right? You have the mayor that will go to D.C. or will go to Lansing or to go wherever, right, to tell the story for the city of Highland Park. And I'm here representing the business owners, the people in the community, and everybody here in this city. So that's my strategy, and not to go to D.C. and, you know, ask for right.
But you know, one problem a lot of municipalities, especially we're talking about that sister, that brother next door, the city of Detroit, that we hear often is that money is returned.
Yes.
Grants come in from the state, grants come in from the federal government, but money is returned.
Right.
Are you having that same problem of not being able to identify the intended use, areas of intended use for these dollars and having to return any money?
No, we're not in the business of returning any grant dollars that are allocated for the city of Highland Park. Actually, HUD, MISTA, and Wayne County has applauded us for our efforts and what we've been doing thus far with the grant dollars here in the city of Highland Park. So with those alignments, you know, that's important to move forward, because when you're allocated grant dollars, you want to use them.
Absolutely.
You know, because these dollars were allocated specifically for a specific use.
Correct.
And you want to make sure
that it's reaching the people, delivering the service that they're intended.
Correct.
Now, a very important issue that is affecting not only southeastern Michigan but around the country is this increase in crime. And with depleted revenues coming from the federal and state government, a lot of communities are cutting their police forces. How are you addressing the public safety issue? Because Highland Park, along with Detroit, is known for a lot of crime activity. So how are you trying to bring in or enhance police presence in the city of Highland Park?
Well, the situation here in the city of Highland Park was created prior to me coming into office. We have part-time officers here in the city of Highland Park, police and fire. And a lot of people, you know, would scratch their head and say, who would come to work as a police officer part-time with no benefits, right?
Absolutely.
I can show you a stack of applications of officers applying here to the city of Highland Park. So in the last month, I've hired 9 officers, and we're going to hire more, and we're going to hire more firefighters part-time as well. And what it creates a pool of officers. You know, when I first got in office, I looked at the officers, and they were overworked and underpaid.
Yeah.
So this is taking some relief off of police officers, you know. So if you do want to take off and you give us a notice, we can schedule somebody else in that place, and our department will never miss a beat, you know. So no one will get to the point to where they feel like, you know, they overwork and I have to call off. So I was looking at that, and what we're doing is getting back to community policing. Okay. Like, you're going to see police officers walking the beat right here in this strip mall and the other 2 strip malls, because this is considered the downtown area of Highland Park. So we want to make it safe and secure for people to come. And we do have a lot of people outside of Highland Park that shops right here. So, you know, we want to make it a safe and inviting environment.
Well, speaking of shopping here in Highland Park, we're in this wonderful facility, this Tim Horton, that is owned, black-owned,
yes.
Black-owned,
yes,
in the city of Highland Park. And on the other side of break, we're going to bring in the owner of this Tim Hortons here on Woodward Avenue in the city of Highland Park on the other side of this break. We're broadcasting here from Tim Hortons in the city of Highland Park, and we've had a very great conversation with the Mayor of Highland Park, Mayor DeAndre Windom. Joining us now is the owner of this Tim Hortons, Ms. Teresa Johnson. I mean, look, African-American female, young African-American female, and you just was telling me during the break that this is not your only facility.
No, I have another location, which is located at 12 and Van Dyke in Warren, Michigan.
Okay.
I've had that one 9 years. April 28th was my 9th.
Okay, so you know,
so it's my second location.
Wow. So what made you decide to actually open up a location here south of 8 Mile, not only south of 8 Mile, in Highland Park, city of Highland Park?
Well, Tim Hortons is always looking for locations. They site out sites all the time, and there was one spot here in Highland Park and would be a great location. I mean, and they gave me a call and asked me if, you know, they said, hey, I got a location just for you. Okay. So they said Highland Park. I said, okay, I'll take it.
You know, one big issue that you hear a lot from, I guess, you know, in the media at least, about why businesses are not reopening, or large chains are not opening in Detroit and Highland Park, is because of crime, because of not enough traffic, and all these other issues that I really can't believe, because we definitely spend a lot of money south of 8 Mile, but we don't see the same level of presence as far as franchises down here.
Well, you know, that may be true in some sense, but for me, you know, having this location, it's been wonderful. I mean, we have the first double drive-through in the U.S.
Okay.
That's right outside, you know, so Highland Park is on the map with Tim Hortons. I mean, I have no issues with crime. I mean, I have police officers in my store all day.
You actually have a station right behind you.
Right, and across the street.
Okay.
They walk the beat. They were, you know, they come in the morning, afternoon, evening. We close our doors at 10.
Okay.
We're 24-hour drive-through.
Okay.
So the fire department, I mean, everybody. I mean, I feel safe.
So you have the support of
I have the support, and the community
is
wonderful. I mean, everybody here has embraced us.
So the young people who I'm viewing over here, who actually are working behind the counters, they actually come from the community?
I have a few. Actually half of my staff lives in Highland Park.
Okay.
So, and then in Detroit, but in the outskirts. So not like way east or west, but right in the area. So, you know, it's diverse.
Okay, being a business owner yourself, you've seen the ups and downs and challenges of actually operating a business and maintaining a business. What type of advice would you give to individuals who may be interested in owning or opening a Tim Hortons, almost that time, Tim Hortons, or going to business for themselves? What what advice would you give young people out there, especially being a African American female?
Well, for me, being determined and having, dedicating yourself is number one. I mean, we are in charge of our own destiny. So I always tell young people, if you want something, go for it. I mean, luckily, I've worked with Tim Hortons since 1999.
Okay.
I was a store manager for 3 years. They gave me the opportunity, and I took it. I ran a great store, and they said, hey, would you like to be an owner? But as a single parent, and I did this all by myself, but if you really want something, you work hard at it, and then you go for it, because the opportunity is there. And if you want a Tim Hortons, you just go online, timhortons.com, and inquire. And,
how difficult is it in actually getting a franchise? Briefly, what's the process? What do they look for?
It's a nice process, but nothing is ever too hard. Nothing, the sky's the limit. If you really want something, you go for it. So just like it's easy, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but if you want to go get whatever you want, if you want a car, you know what it takes to get a car.
Correct.
If you want to run your own business, you do the research, you pull your money together, and then you say, hey, I want a Tim Hortons.
A lot of hard work, too, because you actually work here. And the mayor was saying, like, you're here. I was like, do you think she's going to be over at the Tim Hortons? He's like, she's always there. Right. She's going to be right.
Me, I find that owning your own business, you have to work your business. Things go, unfortunately in this economy, you can't just walk away. I own this store, but I'm never there. No, I work my business. I like to see what's going on.
Now, you mentioned something about Tim Hortons looking to open 4 stores in Detroit.
Oh, no, not 4. They're moving into the city.
Oh, actually moving into.
We just opened up a location Monday, Finkel in Wyoming.
Okay, Finkel in, okay.
7 Mile and Evergreen.
Okay.
So it's
and
happening.
All of them, they're independently
all
owned?
Franchise. Our company is franchised.
How many African Americans are actually owners of these franchises?
It's about 5 of us right now.
Okay, wow.
So I think I was one of 2 in 03.
Okay.
Women.
Okay, and women. Wow.
So it's 2 women that we first opened our stores in 2003.
Are you from the area?
Actually, I'm from Detroit.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so you which high school?
Well,
which high school?
I went to Redford High School.
Oh, good. You ain't say
they
Cass.
tearing down my high school.
That was one of the producers.
But my mom is going to be purchasing one of those homes on Midland, so. We really, hey, Highland Park is on the map.
Okay.
So when they say rebirth, they really mean rebirth.
Well, you picked a prime location right here on Woodward. I'm not sure what's going on, Mayor Windom, with that whole light rail piece that's supposed to come down that would definitely generate a whole heap of traffic here in Highland Park. Is that still in the works, or I know there was some.
The first phase is still in the planning. It's still in the works. So if you figure if they start the first phase, they're going to have to continue to go down.
And I'm sure you would definitely say.
Yes, we definitely need that.
Manchester and Woodward.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right. Manchester's right here.
Oh, yes. This is a nice location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back. We'll continue to keep our eye on Highland Park. I was there from the beginning. I'm still excited about your win because I still see the excitement and energy coming from you. So I want to thank you for being on the show. I know of no safe repository of the ultimate power of society but the people. And if we think them not enlightened enough, the remedy is not to take power from them, but to inform them by education. That's what I hope we do each week on the Jonathan Kinloch Show, educate you and inform you on all of these issues. Until next week, have a great week.